house, and if any Indian tries to stop me, I'll blast him.
You know, the only thing more pathetic than Indians on TV is Indians watching Indians on TV.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Native Film Talk. Today, Wes Studi, the GOAT, the man. The reason why I chose this episode is, one, because Wes Studi is awesome. Two, I want to keep with the trend of doing a moment in Native film history or Native media history every month, and that's this month. Next month, I think I'm going to do Charlie Hill being the first Native American comedian to be on national television. That's a great moment in representation, and I love stand-up comedy. So that's going to be next. But for this month, Wes Studi winning an honorary Oscar, October 27th, 2019, at the 11th Annual Governors Awards. So what is the Governors Awards? Well, it's held in October, and then the Academy Awards itself, the one that the regular Oscars that we're all familiar with, is a televised event that's held February-March timeframe, and they have the regular Academy Awards. And up until about 2009, the honorary Oscar was kind of just a part of the regular Academy Awards. At least the recognition, I guess. It used to be like a mention on the screen during the show, but now it's like its own separate thing. It's another opportunity for people to get like a red carpet opportunity, because they have the red carpet opportunity in February, March at the regular Academy Awards. But now with the Governors Awards, they have a red carpet opportunity in October. So it's great. So you get a lot of star power showing up to these things too. And it's a lot of fun. Like you watch them online, you look up honorary Oscars, you look up Governors Awards, you'll these videos will pop up. You Google any of those things, these videos will pop up, and they're just a lot of fun. In some ways, I like this more than the regular Academy Awards, and I'll talk about that later. But what is an honorary Oscar, Ian? I'm going to be honest, when I first heard an honorary Oscar, it sounds like a little bit of like a participation award, you know? Like, this is before I knew anything about what an honorary Oscar was, and I like film, but then I hear about things like this and an honorary Oscar, and I start doing some research, and I'm like, what's a Governor's Award? I'm like, oh gosh, I gotta do more research. And look up what the Governor's Awards are, and I'm like, oh, there's governors? Like, what do these people do? Who are these people? So I thought like this would be a light week for me because I'm not reviewing a movie. I'm not reviewing the plot. I'm not like going down the catacombs of, looking at blog posts and individuals like doing recaps and film critic reviews. But I probably end up doing more work on this one than I normally would for a movie. But beside the point, so the honorary Oscar, long story short, it's legit. It's basically like a Lifetime Achievement Award, but it's not a Lifetime Achievement Award. The Academy Award is given to, and I quote, is given for, and I quote, extraordinary distinction in lifetime achievement, exceptional contributions to the state of motion picture arts and sciences, or for outstanding service to the Academy. So you really got to be somebody, bottom line. You really have to have done some shit, basically. Wes won alongside David Lynch and Lena Wertmuller, and they also gave out a humanitarian award that year too, and Gina Davis won that. Gina fucking Davis, from A League of Her Own, you know? Thelma and Louise, Gina Davis, she won that award too, so that tells you there's a lot of star power there. This used to be like not a throwaway thing, but it just used to be a flash on the screen in the Academy Awards until like 2009, and when they had the first Governors Awards, and it's much better now, in my opinion. It's great that they have it as a separate thing, separate night. So quick facts before we get to breaking down the night, just about Wes Studi himself. So he's about 72 now, still killing it, still working. He's still a working actor, but he's from No Fire Hollow, Oklahoma. He was raised he is Cherokee, from the Cherokee Nation, but he was raised as he's ESL. Like, Cherokee was his first language. He learned English at a boarding school at a place called Chilocco Indian agricultural school. It's basically like a non-res boarding school. When he was 17, interestingly enough, he signed up for the National Guard, and then later went to serve in the Vietnam War. And so he served for about 12 months, and then so he's a combat veteran. Like, I did not know that. You know, I knew Wes was all that, but I didn't know he was all that. You know what I mean? Like, that was awesome when I read that. He was active in AIM upon his return. I think at the time he was coming back, there was a lot of protests for the war, and because he had just served, he didn't get involved with that. But he was an activist. He went and participated at the Wounded Knee incident in 1973. So he's been a proponent of just furthering the cause of Indian country, like being somebody who tries to advance, whether it's in language, representation, or even for our country. So he's just a all-around great individual, and the actors that he's worked with, the directors, have nothing but positive things to say about him, and I'll talk more about that a little bit later. But he's just an extraordinary individual. He began his acting career at Tulsa Community College, and his first film was in 1988, which was The Trial of Standing Bear, which I've never seen or heard of. I'm just kind of going off his filmography. But his breakout role was the Toughest Pawnee in Dances with Wolves in 1990. And that kind of set the stage of just who the hell is this guy? That was his breakout role. That's the one everyone looks at of just who is this guy? Adding just layers and depth to this seemingly just villain in the movie. But after that, 1992, the legendary Magua, the Yengi himself. Magua, 1992, Last of the Mohicans. And both of those, Dances with Wolves, Last of the Mohicans, they were Academy Award-winning films. So he was putting himself out there on the map, really getting his name out there and recognized for his roles, as he should. And in 1993, he worked along an A-list cast in Geronimo, an American legend. He worked alongside Gene freaking Hackman, Robert freaking Duvall, and a young Matt Damon. This was also nominated for an Academy Award. His other Academy-nominated film he was in was The New World, the Terrence Malick film, with Colin Farrell and Koryanka Kilcher. And it's just the Pocahontas tale, essentially. But it was great, so he's been in Academy Award-winning and nominated films. He was the Tony Hillerman novels. There was 3 movies that came out that were produced by Robert Redford. So Wes Studi played Lieutenant Joe Leaphorn in those movies. Some other big ones recently. Hostels, I'm gonna do that one soon. He was in that with Christian Bale and Rosamund Pike. And Mystery Men, which I loved when he was Sphinx in that. It was a comedy with Ben Stiller. But God, I love that movie, and Wes Studi was just a pleasant surprise in there. He was Sagat in Street Fighter. He was in Heat. He was the cop alongside Al Pacino. He was in Pow Wow Highway. Why I bring up Mystery Men, Street Fighter, and Heat, he transcended just being native. And I've talked about this before, but natives up to this point were typecast. You had to kind of hide your nativeness. You couldn't be openly native, otherwise you would get typecasted. It'd be oh, we have this great native role, or you would be real limited in the roles that you were offered. But Wes had worked with Michael Mann. He had worked with him to the point where Michael Mann's you're just a great actor. You killed it as Magua. I love working with you, so come work with me in Heat. And doing that gave him an opportunity to flex his muscles and be yo, I can do this. I'm an actor. I'm not just a native actor. I'm an actor who happens to be native. And yes, I'm about advancement of representation. And yes, I want to have accurate representation of my people, but I'm an actor first and foremost. So when he signs up to do Mystery Men as Sphinx and Sagat and Street Fighter, he's setting the bar for Indian country, because you're he can be other things. And now it's all over. Graham Greene was just in Molly's Game as a judge. He wasn't a Native American judge. He was just a judge. you know? And I think that's so freaking cool because of Wes Studi and Chief Dan George and Will Sampson. Like, these are trailblazers that are recognized as like, hey, that's why I got into acting. These are people who, Tantu Cardinal, these are people that inspire actors today. And that's why this honorary Oscar is so significant. It represents it's a culmination of all of the efforts of previous actors who have trailblazed and continue to trailblaze. And it's showing that, like, hey, this is now, one, attainable, but two, strive further than this. Be the first Native American actor to win for an Oscar performance. Because now we got the honorary Oscar covered. Now win one for a performance. Or for another category, like film, like direction. That would be amazing, Jeff Barnaby, looking at you, buddy. So, like I said earlier, well, okay, one other film that he was in, Avatar, more recently, when he spoke Na'vi, no English. When he was Magua, he spoke French, he spoke Cherokee, he spoke English, and he was such a dynamic character. He was the first Native person I ever saw that matched the stories that my grandparents and my mom and dad would tell me about, like the old Native leaders that knew 4, 5, 6 languages just because they had to be able to communicate with the neighboring tribes, with the white people, with the Spanish, and to be able to negotiate. And it was just like, holy crap, I can't believe I'm seeing this. And then he added to that in Avatar, he went to the science fiction realm and helped create a language, the Na'vi. James Cameron has such reverence for Wes Studi. It's insane when you hear him talk about Wes. He said that Wes has so much gravitas. Like, if James Cameron ever told me I had gravitas, I could, like, put that on my freaking resume for the rest of my life. But that's what he says about Wes, because he was he was a language consultant for the Na'vi, like, because the Na'vi obviously is a fictional language, but Wes being an indigenous language speaker of Cherokee, like Cherokee being his first language, like, he needed some level of authenticity of, like, we need help making sure that this comes across as authentic, and Wes helped do that, because, you can't just create a fictional language and be like, okay, we created the language, we're good. No, you need people that actually are speakers of an indigenous language to be able to get certain things right, get the tone right, so you're not just you're reciting words off the page. And I thought that was so cool. And this isn't an honorary degree. This isn't some like lifetime achievement award that has no weight. Like, this is a real Oscar. Like, when I was being real cheap about it. I'm just like, oh, he won an honorary Oscar. I'm like, damn it, why can't he win a real Oscar? That's initially what I thought. I don't know why I thought that. Just like the ignorance of me, I guess. But I think part of it is I didn't really know the weight and significance of this award. But you win an actual Oscar statuette. It's in the damn procedure. So there's a 38-page Academy Awards procedure that outlines the Academy Award rules. And under the awards definitions, they run down all the criteria, categories, criteria for eligibility, yada, yada, how the Governor Awards are nominated and how they're voted upon. It's like a 38-page document. I went and read through it. 2 things about that. One, because I wanted to know, I wanted to educate myself. And the other is I just enjoy that kind of thing. So maybe that's why it's better I do this podcast than other people, because that was like actually pretty cool for me to learn exactly like the nitty gritty, how, especially now in COVID times, how they rewrote the procedure and see all the changes they made. Anyway, so how the Governor's Award works. This is like the Actor Award, because there's 17 branches of the Academy. There's actors, casting directors, cinematographers, costume designers, directors, documentary executives, film editors, makeup artists and hairstylists, music producers, PR, short films and feature animations, sound, visual effects writers. Why I said all of those 17 categories is there's a total of 51 governors. 3 governors are elected and like basically nominated for each of those categories at all times. And then there are 3 governors at large. And so you have a total of 54 governors. How you win an honorary Oscar is one of those governors has to nominate you. So one of those 54 people nominated Wes Studi, and that was Gregory Nava, who is a director. Gregory Nava nominated Wes to the governor's, basically board of the governors, I think is how they refer to themselves. And there's not only just Wes Studi. I don't know who else was nominated. I don't think they talk about that. It's like super secret stuff. But once you're on that list of nominees, they send that out to the... They legit write a secret ballot in the procedure. I'm like, come on, guys. You're the Academy Awards. Have something more prestigious than a secret ballot. But it's called the secret ballot. They conduct a secret ballot, and whoever is the majority vote out of that list of nominees gets to win an honorary Oscar. And so whoever Wes was up against on that list, he ended up winning an honorary Oscar based on that, along with the two others that won that year. But that's how the process works, essentially. And you go down as an Oscar winner. Like, that's it. You know, he goes down in history as an Oscar winner. I thought that was like, when you watch these acceptance videos and you watch it, people aren't looking at it like, man, it's nice that you thought of me. Like when Jackie Chan won this, when Spike Lee won this, when James Earl Jones won this award, Robert Redford, you see their emotion on their face and you're just like, holy shit, this is a real freaking award. You know, people like Shirley Temple, Walt Disney, Judy Garland, Akira Kurosawa, like these people, that's Bob Hope. This is the previous honorary Oscar winners that Wes Studi is now a part of. Like, he is a part of an exclusive freaking group of people, and an impressive group of people. Like, Paul Newman's on this list. Like, these aren't just people that, like, throwaway characters, or, like, you're recognizing. Like, it's not like an industry award where, yeah, there's industry awards where, like, yeah, this person had significant contributions in hair and makeup. And it's not like someone that me as an audience member is like, I have no idea who that is. And it's like the actors and people in the industry get to, like, be like, oh, yeah, that's good for them. I worked with them for X amount of years. These awards are, like, for prominent individuals, but also the people that present them, that present on their behalf. Like, somebody presents on their behalf, and the people that present are freaking legit. When Henry Fonda won in 1980, Robert Redford brought him up. When Mickey Rooney won in 1982, Bob Hope introduced him. When Akira Kurosawa won in 1989, Steven Spielberg and George freaking Lucas introduced him. And, you know, when Chuck Jones won, when Kirk Douglas won, Steven Spielberg brought him up. When Chuck Jones won, Robin Williams introduced him. This is insane, you know, when you go through this list. Like when Robert Redford won in 2001, Barbra Streisand introduced him. It's just insane to see these people, you know, just like Al Pacino, Jim Carrey, Clint Eastwood, Kevin Spacey. Oh, geez, maybe I shouldn't have read that one. Quentin Tarantino, Tom Hanks. I mean, and then Chris Tucker introduced Jackie Chan, Jeff Bridges, Richard Gere, like Dustin Hoffman, Angelina Jolie, Tom Hanks again, and Ava DuVernay. And the year that Wes won, 2019, Christian Bale introduced him. And Christian Bale, because of their work in hostels, you know, they crafted a pretty good relationship. And so when he asked Christian Bale to introduce him, he was like, not only yes, but hell yes. What I love, so let's go to the speeches. I kind of droned on a little bit there, sorry. What I love most about the speeches is they're prepared. I don't know how far in advance they let you know that you're going to win, but these speeches are so heartfelt. They have time to think about them. They have time to craft the right words that they choose. They have the time to talk about and thank certain people in their life. Talk about why they started in film. You know, who's important to their continued progress and why. Because some of these honorary Oscars too, it's like recognizing a body of work without the recognition. I mean, I mentioned Jackie Chan, James Earl Jones. All these people are like really prominent figures, but they've never won an Oscar most times. Spike Lee won an honorary Oscar before he won an actual Oscar for Black Klansman. So Spike Lee's always been looked at as like, that guy should have won an Oscar way back when. But he won an honorary Oscar before he actually won one for performance, or at least for direction. So when these people finally win it, it's just like they have so much emotion and so much. This is like a life work, you know? Like you can hold this freaking statuette for the rest of your life and be like, I did this. And so they get enough time, and there is no cap. There's no like 45 seconds or however long they're given at the Oscars for their speech. They're not rushed in any way. The audience is like so into it. There's no suspense of like who's gonna win. Like they dress up knowing who is being presented the award. So in the award, I'm not sure exactly how the invitations go, but I assume it's based on, you know, like there are a bunch of natives there. It was freaking cool. And a bunch of like real just famous people in general, because, you know, Gina Davis won. David Lynch won. So I saw Tantu freaking Cardinal there when I was watching the video footage. Tantu Cardinal was there. Chris Eyre was there. Sherry Blake was there. Delena Studi was there. Joy Harjo, Koryanka Kilcher, Shane from The Walking Dead, Josh Lucas from Sweet Home Alabama and Glory Road, Ford v Ferrari, Taika Waititi was there. It was so freaking cool. Michael Mann, and then Gregory Nava, who nominated him, was there. It was so fun. Like, they just had so much. You could just feel the fun event. I implore anyone listening to just go watch that speech. They go up and have like great stories prepared. Like, they talk about what influenced them to get into the business, an epiphany they had in the business, or like a group of people who were pivotal to their sustained success. You know, I love those kinds of stories. And plus, the best thing about it is everyone in the audience is so happy for everybody. Not that they don't have that, but it's just a different level of excitement because you're finally getting your due. They have like it's like a big like cheerleading session. You know, it's like an entire audience is like, "You go, Glen Coco. You go, Glen Coco." Like, the entire audience is basically like that. Like, I see you. Okay, Wes. Okay, I see you. Like, it's just like, it's so freaking cool. It's like, you know, that relief when Leo DiCaprio finally won an Oscar, and just you saw everyone's like sigh of relief when Brad Pitt won an Oscar, when Spike Lee won an Oscar. You felt that like, finally, they got their due. They got recognition. That's how the entire show feels. That's how everyone looks. I love that. You know, like the normal Oscars, the Academy Awards are cool because of the excitement and the suspense. But it's so unfair to give them, I get it, it's a part of it, but sometimes you just get cheated because some people just are so flustered. This is an achievement of a lifetime, and yeah, there are favorites and front runners, and so there is like genuine surprise sometimes when they do win, and it's like, man, you're trying to capture their emotion and for a life's work or like a significant thing that might be the high point of their career, and you're giving them just this like allotted time to like try to convey their emotion and thank people, and they're put in this weird like political position where they have to go and thank their director and, you know, agent and all these people, and if they don't do that, they might feel slighted and it might affect their ability to get work in the future, or somebody's going to feel left out. And so they go and thank everybody and their mother sometimes, and it's just a mess, you know? It can be a mess, I should say. There are some excellent speeches. All that being said, I love that they're introduced by like titans of the industry. I love that Christian Bale freaking introduced Wes Studi. I love that Chris Tucker introduced Jackie Chan. Like, I love it. So let's talk about the three people that introduced Wes this night. Koryanka Kilcher worked with him in The New World, so she introduced him, gave a couple of minutes of speech, and then Joy freaking Harjo. Joy Harjo, she's the U.S. Poet Laureate. No big deal, you know. I didn't even know what a U.S. Poet Laureate was. It's my ignorance in that, but apparently this is a massive deal. You are like an elected, appointed person, and you serve as the official poet of the United States. Joy Harjo is a Native American woman. I will repeat. You serve as the official poet of the United States. There is only one U.S. Poet Laureate right now, and that's Joy Harjo. And that is crazy. So their whole role was supposed to be, and I took this from Wikipedia, during their term, the Poet Laureate seeks to raise the national consciousness to a greater appreciation of the reading and writing of poetry. To have a Native American woman in that role, are you kidding me? That's amazing. I didn't know that until I saw this. Watch this footage, watch this video. And she brought up Wes Studi, and her speech was great. One line that she has in there was, she's basically like reading poetry, or just her words are so poetic, but she gets to a point where she says, natives are in the house and this is Indian country, and everyone like just claps, and I'm just like, you're damn right you are, you're damn right, you go Glen Coco. Like, this is once again, that's how you feel. And then she goes and passes the baton to Christian freaking Bale and honors him before he goes up, and Christian Bale is legit honored to be presenting it to Wes. This is a huge deal for him to be asked to present an honorary Oscar to Wes. He's the person that actually takes the statuette and hands it to Wes. That's like a moment in his career. Christian Bale, who is an Oscar winner himself for The Fighter, he's been nominated 4 times. He's won once. Like, this isn't just a throwaway guy. Like, he is, when he reads the speech too, when he talks about Wes, he talks about his just his career. He has so much reverence for Wes. Like, he looks at Wes as like a god. The way he talks about him, he's just like, I'm so happy to be associated with you. A part of his speech, he says that Wes has spoken over 24 native languages in his roles. Insane. Can you believe that? Can you think of any other actor? Like, let me think of just someone who's a great actor. Daniel Day-Lewis. Daniel Day-Lewis has not spoken over 24 languages in his entire acting career. Anthony Hopkins hasn't done that. There's a lot of great prominent actors that you can think of. The best actor you can think of in your mind, that just anybody has not spoken over 24 different languages in their career, but Wes has, and that's insane. Like, that should get more notoriety. So the words, I will not recite the whole thing, but this is what Christian Bale said right before he brought up Wes, right before he handed him the statuette. He says, Wes, and I'm not going to try to do a British accent, but he says this with a British accent. It sounds wonderful. Wes, thank you so much for asking me to present this to you. I mean, really having me follow Joy Harjo, U.S. Poet Laureate. I mean, what an anticlimax. I apologize for that. But what a cruelty this is to everyone involved. But anyway, on behalf of myself, the Academy, and as he's saying this, he's staring right at Wes, and the Academy and the moviegoers across the world, I would like to thank you for your work and congratulate on tonight's honor. If I were as talented as you, I would say in a couple of dozen languages, but I'm not, so you'll have to settle for it in English. Wes, it is my immense privilege to present you with this Academy Award. And when he says it's my immense privilege to give you this Academy Award, he gets kind of choked up, This is a huge honor for him, and it should be, because Wes is awesome. And Wes comes up, accepts his speech, accepts his award, watches their tribute video, and he's just like, God, I'm amazing. The way these people tell it, I'm absolutely amazing, and I freaking love that, You are amazing, Wes. Thank you for everything you've done, And he later goes on to say, I'd like to simply say it's about time. And I love it. I love it. It's a 13-minute speech. I implore you to go watch it. He gets a standing ovation when he announces that he's the first Native American to win an Academy Award, and well-deserved it. And this is like, you see Taika Waititi stand up. You see all the Native actors are present. You see Tantu, Chris Eyre stand up, and you're just like, man, you get it. You go after it. And his like ending words in this speech, he speaks in Cherokee, and it's just like beautiful, eloquent the way he speaks. And I was positive that was the first time that Cherokee was spoken on an Oscar stage. And it's not. It's the first time it was spoken at a Governor's Awards. But at the Academy Awards itself, in 2018, the year prior, he spoke Cherokee on stage when he was brought up to honor the military. So he was brought up prior to like a tribute video that was shown, where he said that he was proud to have served with the Alpha Company of the 39th Infantry. And then he ended with speaking Cherokee, and a rough translation that I saw on the internet, he said in Cherokee, hello, and then wants to give appreciation to all the veterans and Cherokees who have served. Thank you. Something along those lines. But he said that in Cherokee and walked off, and I'm just like, holy crap, that was awesome. So good for Wes, good for the Cherokee Nation, good for the Academy Awards. 2 years in a row, they had Cherokee spoken at their events, thanks to Wes Studi. Once at the Academy Awards to honor the military, and once in 2019 for at the Governor's Awards. And like, that's insane. That's unprecedented. Like, that's a win. You need to look at that and be like, hell of a moment, you know? And Wes could have come in his best black tie. He could have come in his best black tuxedo. No. What does this guy do? He shows up with a glammed out tuxedo with a beaded bow tie. I didn't know you could bead bow ties. You can bead everything, I guess, but I didn't know you could bead bow ties and look that fabulous. His beaded bow tie is clean. And that's probably the first ever beaded bow tie to hit the Oscar stage, and I freaking love it. The Academy of the Governor's Award stage, you know? Be proud of that. Be proud of this. Hold on to Wes's honorary Oscar and be like, yo, we won this. You know, this is a win for Indian country because he set the bar for movies. He was Geronimo. He was Magua. He was the Toughest Pawnee. He was Itukan in Avatar. He was Sphinx in Mystery Men. He is just an amazing force. He inspired actors. He inspired just regular, everyday people, non-actors. I say everyday people like we're, you know, I don't like to say normal, but just non-actors, you know, because you see someone like Wes on screen, you're just like, man, someone's getting after it. And another native is getting after it. Another native is succeeding. I can do that too. And it's not going to be maybe on this big screen. It could be at a smaller stage, or it could be in another industry. But you look at Wes and you're like, there's a successful Native American person just doing it. I can do that too. And we owe a debt of gratitude to people like Wes Studi and Tantu Cardinal, Will Sampson, and you know, Chief Dan George, because they represented natives accurately on screen. And it's so awesome that the Academy, well, in this case, the governors acknowledged that Gregory Nava nominated Wes Studi, and then the governors at the time had enough sense to vote in Wes to win this award, to receive it. Because this is awesome. You know, he inspired. I've heard testimony about Jason Momoa, you know, gush about Wes Studi, saying how, you know, he inspired him to get into acting. He inspired him to succeed and continue to be in acting. He's, you know, revered by James freaking Cameron. That in itself can tell you, like, that's a life achievement in itself, to be revered by James Cameron, you know. To be revered by Michael Mann. Michael Mann, I'm going to read this off real quick. Michael Mann, he's directed these following actors: Al Pacino, Tom Cruise, Robert De Niro, Daniel Day-Lewis, Jamie Foxx, Johnny Depp, Val Kilmer, Leonardo DiCaprio in The Aviator, Will Smith and Ali. And he will gush about Wes Studi. And he was like his biggest cheerleader in the stands that day. And he has said, he's gone on record, that Wes is among the top 3 actors he's ever worked with. And he's worked with, I'm going to read it again, Al Pacino, Tom Cruise, Robert De Niro, Daniel Day-Lewis, Jamie Foxx, Johnny Depp, Val Kilmer, Leo DiCaprio, Will Smith. And he says top 3, even out of all those people. He's not just a good actor who changed the game for Native people. He's an amazing actor. He's not just an actor. He's not just a Native actor. Like, he's a great actor who happens to be Native American. And he's done so much for both Indian country and just the acting world in general. And he deserved this award, you know? And the industry had so much inertia. I mean, you can't ever tell what the effect would be had Wes never came into the industry. But he definitely changed the trajectory based on how good of an actor he was, based on how much depth he brought on screen. You know, he allowed directors to say, like, hey, maybe natives can tell their own stories. Maybe they can be trusted to act in these roles, in higher roles. You know, Geronimo, Magua, Toughest Pawnee. We can be trusted to do those things. We can be trusted to do non-native roles, like in Heat, Sphinx and Mystery Men, Sagat and Street Fighter. And Robert Redford, because of his, he produced the Tony Hillerman novels into a trilogy. He called Wes our greatest living actor. This is Robert Redford. Robert fucking Redford said that. Jeremiah Johnson himself. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, Robert Redford. He called Wes our greatest living actor. Wow. While he did not make Dances with Wolves, Wes, the director of Geronimo, An American Legend, Walter Hill, he tried shopping around that movie, that script, before Dances with Wolves came out. But because of how well it was received, Dances with Wolves, and how good of a job Wes did in that movie, he shopped it around after Dances with Wolves, and boom, got it. Said Wes Studi's going to be playing this role. People ate that up, and they were like, yes, we'll produce it. Yes, let's get it going. And Wes was alongside like A-list actors. It's not like he wasn't in Last of the Mohicans, but Matt Damon, Gene Hackman, Robert Duvall. Wes is just amazing. Wes inspired me by being Magua, by being in movies like Mystery Men, because I was like, man, that as a kid you watch that and you're just like, you see it because it's a funny movie, but you're like, oh, there's a native guy with Ben Stiller in a movie, with Kel Mitchell in a movie, like being silly, not being native. He's just a guy. That was so cool. Like, we owe a debt of gratitude to Wes Studi, and I love it. And he's still working today. He's still getting after it. He's working on Canyon del Muerto with Tatanka Means, and another movie called Nothing Arizona that's supposed to come out sometime soon. He's just continuing to kill it, and I love it. So this was a shorter episode, and it's going to be a shorter episode because it's just a moment in history, and I don't really want to belabor it too much, but I love it. If you have a chance, I'll tell you guys, the listeners, just Google Wes Studi Honorary Oscar. You'll see the three presenters, Koryanka Kilcher, Joy Harjo, and Christian Bale, separate videos. And then you'll also see Wes Studi. It's about a 13-minute video. So in about 20 minutes, you can watch the entire thing yourself and just see the excitement. Like, go watch it. And even then, go watch like Jackie Chan accepting the award. Go see Chris Tucker presenting Jackie Chan. Go see James Earl Jones come up. Like, the Governor's Awards is so cool. I'm so happy I know about this award now. I'm going to pay attention to it every single year. All right, everybody. Well, that was a good one. And while I can't have I showed this to my son movement moment, because it's not a movie per se, I will definitely tell my son about this. Of like, hey, son, this is like an astronaut. This is like the man walking on the moon. This is a Native American winning an Oscar. Hell yeah. I'm going to tell you about this, and we're going to watch Wes Studi movies, and we're going to talk about Wes Studi, talk about what a great man he is. It's going to be great. I can't wait to tell my son about this great man, this figure in Native history. All right, everybody. Y'all have a good one.